In this module, we shall learn about the monetary shocks. Monetary policy is the action of a central bank, currency board, or any other regulatory committee that determines the size and rate of growth of the money supply, which further affects interest rates. The main instruments to affect interest rates are reserve requirements, which affect the demand for reserves and therefore the demand for central bank money, lending to banks, and open market operations. So, in all, there are three main instruments to affect interest rates. In India, the Central Monetary Authority is the Reserve Bank of India, which is also known as RBI. It conducts its operations in such a way so as to retain price stability in the economy and attain high economic growth. In the United States, the Federal Reserve is responsible for the monetary policy. Monetary policy can have two forms. First, a monetary expansion, and second, a monetary contraction. A rise in the money supply is known as monetary expansion, whereas a fall in the money supply is called as monetary contraction. A monetary shock is something that results in the shift of the LM curve. This shock could arise from a change in the supply or demand for money. This shock in turn can be positive, which will lead to a rightward shift in LM curve, or negative, which will lead to a leftward shift in the LM curve. After studying this module, you shall be able to understand what is meant by monetary policy and monetary shocks, know about the effect of a monetary shock on the interest rate, output, and price level in the short, medium, and long run, understand the adjustment path, understand the meaning of neutrality of money in medium and long run. First, we shall discuss the effects of a monetary shock in the short, medium, and long run, which is also known as the adjustment path. Let us take the case of a positive monetary shock. The monetary expansion is assumed to happen through increase in the nominal money stock. Before the change in the nominal money supply, the aggregate demand in the economy is represented by the aggregate demand curve, that is the AD curve. The aggregate supply is represented by the aggregate supply curve, that is by AS curve. Aggregate demand curve and aggregate supply curve intersects at point A, at which the equilibrium output is Yn, which is the natural level of output, and the price level is given by P, which is equals to the expected price level. Now, the central bank increases the nominal money supply, that is M, through open market operations, maybe through buying bonds. Now, given that the price level is fixed. This leads to increase in real money supply, that is M by P. Recall that aggregate demand equation is given by Y is equals to Y bracket M by P comma G comma T bracket close, where G stands for the government spending, T stands for taxes. From the above equation, it can be seen that an increase in real money supply would lead to an increase in output in the short run. The aggregate demand curve shifts from AD to AD dash since there is a change in a factor affecting aggregate demand other than price level. In the short run, the economy moves from point A to A dash along the original AS curve. Output increases from Yn to Y dash and price level increases from P to P dash. Over time, the adjustment of price expectations comes into play. Aggregate supply curve, which is given by the equation P is equals to P to the power E into 1 plus mu into F into 1 minus Y by L comma Z, where P to the power E is the expected price level, mu is the markup, Z is the catch-all variable for all other factors that affect wage determination and in turn price. L stands for the labor force, shifts up. This happens because the output in the short run is more than the natural level of output. The price level is higher than what the wage setters expected. They therefore revise their expectations, which cause the aggregate supply curve to shift up over time. The economy moves up. The new AD curve, that is AD dash, the adjustment process continues till the output returns to the natural level of output. The final equilibrium happens at the intersection of AS curve represented by AS double dash and the AD dash curve at point A double dash, where the output is the same as Yn and the price level is at P double dash. Note that here P double dash is higher than both P and P dash. This increase in price is to the extent of the increase in nominal money supply. Thus, the real money supply remains constant. The output returns to the natural level of output and the interest rate to its original level. Moving on to the neutrality of money in the medium and the long term. The discussion shows that in the short run, a positive monetary shock or monetary expansion leads to an increase in output, a decrease in the interest rate, and an increase in the price level. How much of the effect of a positive monetary shock falls initially on output and how much on the price level depends on the slope of the aggregate supply curve. But over time, the effect of the positive monetary shock or monetary expansion on output and interest rate disappears but the price level increases further. In the medium run, the increase in nominal money is matched by a proportionate increase in the price level. Therefore, an increase in nominal money has no effect either on output or on interest rate. Economists denote to the absence of a medium run and long run effect of change of money supply on output and on the interest rate by saying that money is neutral in the medium and long run. This neutrality of money in no ways means that monetary policy cannot or should not be used to affect output. An expansionary monetary policy can help the economy move out of recession and return sooner to the natural level of output. But it is just that a monetary policy cannot withstand higher output forever. Real business cycle model. The real business cycle model explains the business cycles in output and employment as being caused by real shocks. In this model, money is neutral and level changes in M have no effect on the real variables and thus it causes a proportionate increase or decrease in price. This suggests that changes in the LM curve do not explain cycles and that monetary policy is irrelevant. It considers the changes in fiscal policy and technology as the real changes which cause the fluctuations in the potential output. The monetary policy is an important instrument in the hand of the central bank of a country to regulate the economy. Through its monetary policy instruments, it can affect the money supply, interest rates and output and price levels in the economy. It can be a savior in times of recession and can bring the economy out of it. And in the long run, it keeps the output at the natural level of output, price at the expected price level and unemployment at the natural rate of unemployment. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. The central bank of a country, through the various instruments of monetary policy, affects the level of money supply in the economy and other variables which depend on the level of money supply. The expansionary monetary policy or a positive monetary shock result in increasing the money supply, while a contractionary monetary policy or a negative monetary shock result in decreasing money supply. In the short run, a monetary shock affects the output, price level and the interest rates. For example, a positive monetary shock leads to a decrease in interest rates, increase in the output and price level. In the medium and the long run, a monetary shock affects only the price level. In case of a positive monetary shock, the increase in the nominal money supply is matched by an increase in the price level to keep the real money supply constant. The interest rate and the output resumes to their original levels. The effect of keeping the output and interest rate same in the medium and the long run despite a monetary shock is referred as neutrality of money. The monetary policy is effective in improving the health of the economy, but its effect on output cannot be sustained forever.